when you go to cacao farming, make sure to have a good cacao farm is the fertilization. It is true that synthetic fertilizer would deteriorate the soil fertility or the soil condition kung palagi talagang synthetic ang ginagamit mo. In my own experience, I did not also leave those synthetic fertilizer. Ang tawag niyan sa akin is a balanced fertilization. Balanced fertilization meaning you should not rely on the synthetic fertilizers, but you have to put organic fertilizer once in a while. For example, you will be placing organic fertilizer twice a year. Yung synthetic fertilizer mo once every quarter or thrice a year. So ang maganda kasi sa lagyan mo rin ng organic fertilizer is that lalo na yung mga commercial fertilizer na merong FPA, meron yung component na limestones, no? It is required. So those limestone will be the one to neutralize maybe the acidity or whatever na palagi kang gumagamit ng synthetic. So dito sa farm ko, my cacao is already about 32 years old because I've been in cacao farming for the past 32 years. So maybe 30 years. But their potential fruiting is still almost the same as they are about 10 years old or 15 years old. So what I did is just do the balanced fertilization. Hindi din pwede na lahat organic from my personal experience with due respect to the organic farmers. Kasi matakaw kasi ang cacao ng nutrients, no? And then if ever, from my personal observation, ang fertilization is one of the factors that would really give the income for your cacao. If you will not give fertilizers either organic or non-organic, I could not imagine how would be your income. No, hindi talaga siya maganda. So I suggest you find yourself saan hiyang yung cacao farm mo, because each and every one of us have different ideas, have different farm protocols, but the general rule it is like that. We must fertilize our cacao farms. Second, also they said that why is it that my cacao farm is have so many fruits and then mine is not? Maybe one factor is not the only the fertilization, not only the pruning, not only the genetics or the variety that you are planting, not only the spraying, but we take also considerations for the elevation. We take also the considerations for the humidity. We take also considerations with the temperature of your farm. We take also the considerations the water, no? Yung ulan. Kasi most of the old cacao farms and all of the cacao farms have yung tinatawag nating drip irrigation system. So those are the factors that varies. But we will go to the level of tinatawag nating conservative estimate, wherein each and every farmer can attain on those average yield, wherein they can make some income for that. The only thing that I could suggest to each and every one farmer and those who want to become a cacao farmer, always remember that you should not sell your products or fermented beans or sun-dried beans directly to the traders or to the buyers. Instead, if possible, do the value adding. It is the only chance that you can have a greater income. From my experience, from my status wherein I am very happy and I am very thankful that I planted cacao, because I could not imagine myself having 6 children and all these 6 children finish college, and very thankful, no? Very thankful for somebody who is guiding me, our Lord. From the 6 children and from my 2 hectares farm, I have 1 daughter graduated from the College of Medicine. Which is what I am doing now is just a matter of giving back. No? What I know in cacao farming is I will be sharing to you everything. No secrets hidden. Walang sikreto kasi ang hiningi ko noon sa Panginoon is that He can only give me that I can send all these children to college. Bigyan pa ako ng bonus. Pinagraduate pa ang isang anak ko na maging doktor. And he is now a practicing doctor. Aside from that, meron akong anak na doktor. I developed this farm. Nung una, I could not even make a kubo in my farm. When I started, I could not even buy 100 seedlings outright. By 20, no, yung kung meron akong makabili ako ng 100 seedlings, maybe meron kaming mga clothing allowance, si Mrs. meron ding chalk allowance, hindi na lang siya magsulat sa blackboard para may ipagbili ng mga seedlings. So those are the days. But this time, I am very thankful that the Lord gave or guided me that I would be planting cacao. I have now so many things happened to my life. So many things. That's why I'm very happy to the DA Region 11 through the leadership of Executive Director Red Monteagudo, to Secretary Dar, who was my long friend, even though he was not yet with the government. We're already friends because he is engaged in farming and I am also engaged in farming. So I'm very thankful of these things, and that's why I return this to you. I have no maybe somebody have things to question about what I am telling, but it is my experience. I have no proper education kasi this is nationwide and so many people are watching this. What I shared is just my experience. So fertilization is the part of making your farm one of the factor that will give you a good income. So again, ang spraying, it would be spraying is now very easy for us to find any kind of insecticide, fungicide, and foliar, and that we are improving because there is no more red label. All are yellow and green labels, which I am thankful to those people who are doing this. No, which is a lesser harm to the environment and to the workers as well. Maybe some of you have heard, wag kayong magkakakaw kasi babalutin niyan isa-isa. Why we should have to wrap the cacao? There are now studies that there are varieties that are resistant to pod borer. There are now varieties that no more sleeving is needed. So I welcome those things, but as of now I have not found and I have not yet kasi pag mag-experiment tayo about this kind of babaguhin natin yung mga protocols. Nandiyan na yung mga insekto na yan. I don't know if they really have something more than that. No, kasi ang ano dyan is just spray with insecticide every week if you want not to wrap it, and then you wrap it with a cellophane. Filmic now is designing a biodegradable cellophane that about 120 days to 150 days mabubulok na siya within lang sa pad na hindi mo pa na-harvest. Yun ang mga magandang development ngayon, and some of our farmers are doing the no sleeving method, and I have not yet observed that, and that is a very good call, no, for those farmers who have that kind of protocol or designs or technique. Why do we have to wrap the pod? Because there is an insect, what we call pod borer, that would bite or just inject the cereal or the small cacao pod. Once it is injected, larva will grow inside, and that cacao is already reject, no? Hindi na maganda yung buto niya. Tayo naman as a farmer, kailangan we must be very alert, no? Kasi yung insekto na yan, as we observe in our farm, yung pod borer na yan, hindi yan dadapo sa cacao na maliit pa, na wala pang buto sa ilalim. They have their instinct to know na mayroong buto yan, dadapo na siya, sisirain yan. Ngayon, itong design ng Filmic na wrap, no, pad cellophane na pang-wrap ng cacao is biodegradable, just almost the same na mag-harvest ka na. Some are not yet ripened, but bulok na yung bulok na yung cellophane. It's okay. Kasi pag ganito na siya kalaki, pag ganito na siya ang edad niya, almost ripe na siya, hindi na siya yung injection, yung bite ng pod borer hindi na makapasok dito sa pod pag medyo matured na siya. Doon lang talaga siya sa mga baby, mga maliit pa ang pod. So the age or ang size ng pod na babulutin mo is thumb size, the smallest one, and battery size, the biggest one. Kasi kung battery size palagi yung irarap mo, pag round mo ulit the next 15 days while you will be harvesting, yung naiwan mo more than a battery size na yan. So from this size hanggang battery size, yun ang babalutin mo. Huwag babalutin yung masyadong maliit kasi mainit yung nasa ilalim sa cellophane. Iitim din yung bunga ng cacao ninyo. So yun ang reason ng why we have to do o bakit binabalot natin yung cacao. Marami tayong different varieties here in the Philippines, and those varieties na hiyang dito sa Pilipinas, and then mostly farmed or tinatanim ng mga farmers are the UF18, BR25, PBC 123. Yun ang mga pinaka-common dito. We have also the Criollo. Yan ang pinaka-common. So those are varieties that are really yung tinatawag natin hiyang dito sa Pilipinas. Dito sa ating dito sa i-share ko sa inyo, I have also some I call this as other opportunities in cacao farming. Kasi as a farmer, you should know all the possibilities kung saan tayo kikita. No? Halimbawa, other opportunities, the latest opportunities, itong waste material ng cacao when you do the fermentation, yung cacao drippings or cacao juice. The first 3 hours of cacao juice, ginagawa nating wine. Kasi the first 3 hours is yung drippings niya hindi pa maasim because the fermentation process there is not yet going on. So selective tayo. First 3 hours gagawin natin itong wine. After 3 hours, kasi tumutulo siya within 24 hours time. After 3 hours, it begins now na medyo aasim na yung drippings natin or yung cacao juice natin. And those collection that we have should be made into a cacao vinegar. And this cacao vinegar is very, very good for us. Why? You know already the health benefits of cacao, at the same time the antioxidant properties of cacao. At sigurado pati walang synthetic na minimix dito kasi galing ito sa drippings ng cacao. 90% of all the farmers in the Philippines are just throwing this during the fermentation. They will just throw this. We have now the technology came from the DOST TAPI and the Department of Agriculture, Filmic. They are the one helping me on this, and I'm very thankful that I am sharing this to you. At the very start, I am very reluctant for having this kind of, but eventually, I saw it as a very big potential for us. Why? This is a waste material turned into income. This is a waste material turned into money. How much? If you will be going to ferment 500 kilos, you will be going to have the first 3 hours, you will be going to have more or less 40 liters to 60 liters. After that, you will be going to harvest again about another 60 or 80 liters of the vinegar, yung after na sa first 3 hours. So ilan yun? Kung meron kang, halimbawa, yung program na gobyerno natin, 100,000 metric tons of dried beans. Ilang kilo yan sa wet beans? I-multiply mo pa yan ng, halimbawa, 100,000, multiply mo pa yan times 7. Kasi 30% lang resort and every 3 kilos na ibibilad mo, 30 to 33% lang ang lalabas. So yung target natin na 100,000 metric tons. How many liters of wine and how many liters of vinegar are there? Malaking potential yan. Malaking additional income for the farmers yan. So hoping this would give you a very meron man tayong mga taga-DA na nakikinig ngayon. This is a very good technology now given to cacao farmers. And the last one, for the latest one, is this cacao fuel briquettes. In cacao fuel briquettes, sa isang pad, approximately 150 grams to 200 grams lang seeds, yung wet beans na makukuha mo. Pero ang isang pad is about 800 grams to 1 kilo. So, 75% or 80% ang waste material sa isang pad. 200 grams makuha mo na wet beans, 800 grams yung waste material. Doon na naman tayo pupunta sa 100,000 metric tons. Ilang uling na magagawa doon? You can imagine if this will be done and this would be developed by our government, particularly the FELMIC and the DOST. If they will develop this, maybe marami na tayong kahoy sa kagubatan. Wala nang farmer na magpuputol pa ng kahoy. Instead, they will be using this waste material made into briquettes. Now, I have already the machines here in the farm, which is sponsored by the FELMIC. But it is just a research, so we want a bigger one na isang batch marami. Kasi isang batch nito intended for research is parang 15 lang ata or 13. So medyo lugi sa labor costing with our tao dito. But if it reaches about 100 briquettes per batch, well, okay na yan kasi itinatapon mo na yung pod husk, no? Yung pod husk. The second for the pod husk, a very good component for organic fertilizer, wherein it can eventually replace yung old dating cocoa coir, yung mga sodas, yung mga cocoa pit. Instead of that, we will be using the cacao pod husk or cacao shell as the component for the plant waste during making of our organic fertilizer. So those are opportunities, the latest one. Now we go the standard. Maybe some of you do not know that there is a really diversified income for a cacao farmer. When I was interviewed by the British Broadcasting Corporation, I am the first Filipino cacao farmer was interviewed and was shown in an international TV station. The Untitled yan, you can even find that in the YouTube hanggang ngayon. The title of that is Filipino Farmer Strikes Gold with Cocoa. When I was interviewed, in one sentence, what can you say cacao farmer, as a cacao farmer? I told them that even if you have 1 hectare cacao farm, my guarantee is you can send all your children to college. Because not only for dried fermented beans, not only for dried sun-dried beans, but there are so many opportunities. Imagine, we will work now with our imagination. If you have 1 kilo dried beans, approximately it has 500 to 600 beans. Yung isang kilo mo. So 500 lang tayo mag-compute. Okay. We will not sell the dried beans and then we will make that into seedlings. This is the first opportunity. So let us assume marunong ka na mag-graph, marunong ka na sa nursery operation, ganito, ganyan, because you have a cacao farm. Marunong ka na sa lahat. 8 months after, meron ka ng 500 grafted cacao seedlings. 1 kilo lang yan, 1 kilo. Kino-convert natin into seedlings. 500 seedlings, magkano sa inyo? In Luzon, pinakamura sa Luzon is 40 pesos. 500 times 40, how much is that? That is 20,000. Where can you find a business that after 6 months or 8 months, your 150 pesos, magandang presyo na yan, dito sa Davao, 120 lang yan or 100. 150 pesos, ipagbili mo yan, 150 pesos ang sales mo, pag gagawin mo yung seedlings, kikita ka ng 20,000 pesos. 8 months, just a matter of 8 months. Saan ka maghalap niya? Okay. Why I have to explain this to you? No? Because seldom you can find this kind of story. Because these are the things that are not being told or that not being said. Kasi each and every one speaker have its own business, which commonly is nursery operation. If you have 1 hectare cacao farm, ipagpalagay natin to the most conservative estimate, 1.5 of dried beans, 1.5 kilos of dried beans per tree per year. How many trees in 1 hectare? 1,000 trees. 1.5 times 1,000 trees, you have 1,500 kilos of dried fermented beans. You will not be going to make that 1,500 kilos beans into a nursery. Magkahirap-hirap ka dyan, sinong bibili? So, just get out of that because you'll be going to do the marketing strategy at the very start. 10%. 10% of 1,500 is 150 kilos. Wag mo na yung hindi mo na yung 1,500. 100 kilos lang para mas madali. Okay. 100 kilos times 500 seeds. Ilan yan? 100 kilos times 500 seeds equals 50,000 seedlings. 50,000 seedlings times 40 pesos. Grafted na yan. Ikaw nang gumagawa lahat-lahat. 50,000 seedlings times 40. How much is that? Ano yan? Ilan yan? 2 million. Yun ang sinasabi ko. Even if you have 1 hectare cacao farm, my guarantee is you can send your children to college. So, number 1, very good for a cacao farmer is you have to think outside the box, or you have to be an agripreneur. No? Always, do not think as a farmer of yourself, but always think that farming is a business. Number 2, cacao pods. There are so many students buying cacao pods intended for experiments. During trade fairs, I go to Mall of Asia and so on and so forth. I am going there and then I sold these cacao pods at 100 pesos each. Kakainin lang yan ng mga estudyante. So it would be a very good income for you because what is the cost of that? It only costs you about 8 to 10 pesos each. Number 3, opportunity pa rin ito. Even I myself, when I started cacao farming, I did not know that this cacao science or cacao bud sticks is an opportunity. Isang bud stick ngayon will be sold at 10 pesos. Can be cut into 3 to 4 cuttings. So, pag-receive ng farmer kung saan siya dito sa buong Pilipinas, it will be cut into 4 to 50 pa rin. Mura pa rin para sa kanila. And they have the good variety that they are going to develop in their farm. Kung mayroong kukuha sa'yo 5,000 bud sticks or 5,000 scions a week or 3,000 scions a week, this would give you an income of 30,000. Itong scions, kahit anong oras, kahit anong buwan, kahit anong taon, kahit araw-araw, meron yan. Available yan sa farm mo. Not like the cacao pods na kailangan hinog, kailangan yung cacao pods mo na nakawin po yan, wala pa yung 10 pesos mo. But the bud sticks are so many. It is millions on bud sticks. So if you can cater nurseries that have about 500,000 or how many thousands, and they are buying the bud stick from your farm, it is also a good income, which I myself also did not think about it. And then another opportunities for cacao farming, you have to sell nursery seeds, cacao seeds for planting. You can just imagine cacao seeds for planting. This is wet beans. This is wet beans. Magkanong kilo dito? This is 350 pesos per kilo. But 100% germination rate. Itong 3 kilo nito, which is the minimum, are more or less 1,000 seeds. Kasi wet siya, hindi siya dry. Ang 3 kilo seeds, pag ipagbili mo as cacao seeds for planting, ang halin or ang sales niyan is 1,050. But if you want to dry this 3 kilos, you want to dry this, sun dry or ferment, whatever, you will have only a sales of 150 pesos. What is the difference? 150 against 1,050. The cost of your seedling, the cost of your dried fermented beans basing on the cacao seeds for nursery use would be 700 to 800 pesos per kilo. More or 3 times higher than the market price, the world market price. Kaya lang, kailangan, bottom line again of this story is, you have to develop, you have to make first your farm. Not maybe the best, but nice to see when you have customers or when you have clients. So, yun ang yun ang bottom line. You have to make your farm first to be the best or to be nice to see, no? And then the cacao seeds dried, it is normal. And yun, the different market processes like tablea, they are now processing. Some of the developed farm owners, they are now processing into chocolates. They are now processing into a liquid chocolates, which is like chocolate juice or chocolate milk. So many things are doing new technologies for cacao farmers, no? And some of the very nice to remember is this artistic cacao farmers that they are making their leaves, no, cacao leaves, which is to be thrown away. They're making this into a fossilized cacao leaves, and they make that into lampshades. They make that into different designs, decorations. Okay, the next one, the very essence of why is there is a competition on the flavors, on the quality, on the sweetness, on the taste of different chocolates, of different tablea. What is the main factor? Bakit meron dyan? Bakit sa kanya different ang taste, dito sa akin different ang taste, and so on and so forth? It is due to the fermentation process. You can never make a very nice flavor, a very nice aroma of a cacao beans if it is not fermented. There are different tastes, but the general taste is that tayong mga kumakain, we are not the chef for chocolates. It is only the chef of chocolates that knows how good is your chocolate. But tayong mga ordinaryo na kumakain ng tsokolate, we cannot determine pagkain natin, chocolates na yan, okay na yan, chocolates na yan. No more other things to ask for. But for other chocolaters, more on the mga foreign chocolaters, they're very keen and they're very curious how you did the fermentation process. Fermentation process in a very simple way, in a very layman's term, is binuburo mo ang beans. Pagburo mo ng isda, hindi maganda pagkaburo. Ano ang baho ng isda na hindi maganda pagkaburo? Masangsang ang amoy. The same thing with fermentation ng cacao beans. Pag hindi ka marunong sa protocol, hindi ka marunong how it works within the fermentation process, pag open mo ng fermented beans mo, iba ang amoy. But if you can have a very good fermentation process, you observe it, you tried your best how to make it have a good flavor, then ang binuburo mo na isda, pag open mo, kahit kapitbahay mo, oy, ang bango ng burong isda nila. Tulad din yan ng ating tsokolate. Yung tsokolate mo, pag aabot yan sa neighbor, ang bango niyan, you have a good fermentation process. Good fermentation process is start on the harvest alone. It really starts on the base, the very basic. Why? Upon breaking the pods, there are different methods and techniques yung mga farmers natin. Some are doing the breaking of the pod in the field. Some are doing the breaking of the pod in a bodega or on a cacao pod collection shed. So there are so many things to be done. There are so many different way of harvesting. But the basic there, after breaking the pod, even if you can see one seed that has a puncture or a brown texture, meaning there is something wrong, why it is brown, why it is not white, you should not let that one bean mix with the good ones. You have to separate that. Kaya itong mga farmers, kayong mga farmers na nandito, when you go to your processing, when you go to your harvesting, meron kayong dalawang dala na containers or whatever you want to bring. Dito ang good seed, dito ang bad seed. Separate mo agad doon pa sa breaking of the pods. Pagdating mo dito, ang piniferment mo, yun lang talagang maganda. Kasi you want to maximize the aroma. No, later na yung mga kind of variety, ganito ganyan, but any kind of variety, even it is a mixed variety, basta maganda ang fermentation, mabango pa rin yung tsokolate mo. So those are the very basic. And then later on, when you have already consolidated the beans, again, fermentation is one of the factors that is the aroma of the cacao in any kind of variety. The greatest factor that would give the good taste, good aroma is on the fermentation process. Okay. When you break the pod, if possible, right after breaking the pod, put it in a fermentation box, whether if you have not yet have the stainless steel, whether it is wooden or plastic, whatever. The best idea for fermentation at the very beginning is you let all the drippings or the cacao juice to be extracted through gravity. No need for you to press or compress the wet beans, but instead just let it leave there and then let the natural flow of the cacao drippings or cacao juice. The first 3 hours will made into wine, and the last one up to the end of its dripping of the juice is intended for tableya. during the fermentation, make sure that you build or you make a height to the maximum of 2 feet for you to have an access or to gain heat or energy within the beans. Kailangan kasi na isang fermentation process or protocol na merong indication na umiinit yung beans. If it is umiinit yung beans, well, the fermentation really is in good situation, would be in good manner or exact manner that you are having with. And then, if possible lang, you can have the 45 degrees to 55 degrees heat. That would be within the fermentation box or within the fermented beans that you have. Before, we have some thermometer that would measure the temperature in the middle and the sides of a fermentary facility, but the longer you have the process of doing, every week, every month, sometime during peak period, even in the late hours, you have to inspect your fermentation. No need for you to use thermometer. Instead, drip your hand into the file of beans. Pag drip mo sa hand mo, medyo mainit talaga, parang nilalagnat siya. That is more or less 40 plus. So, it's okay. Kasi mag-antay-antay ka pa ng kan, baka masira pa yung thermometer mo. Madisgrasya pa yung fermentation process mo. But, if your own hand would be dripped into the beans, then, kung hindi ka lang lasing, wala kang then you can really feel that the fermentation is going on. Ngayon, ang problema ng mga farmer, gumawa siya ng malaking fermentation box intended for 50 kilos. But ang na-harvest ni farmer is only 25 kilos. Now, kung ganun lang kadami, ilalagay mo yung beans doon sa fermentary facility mo o fermentary box mo na 50 kilos lang, liit lang siya. Ganun lang ang height. So, the height requirement, you did not pass the height requirements. So, remember this. One side of your fermentary box must be movable. Pag ganun lang kakapal, na wala kang ginagawa sa fermentary box mo, yung isang side na yan must be movable, i-post mo yan. Pag post mo yan, liliit yung space, tataas yung beans mo. Then you can get there the heat. Okay. Para naman sa mga farmer na 5 kilo lang, 10 kilo, ang iba 2 kilo lang, first harvest. Paano kayo maka-ferment yan? Even a certain heat, you cannot make it. Ganito ang gagawin ninyo. Lagay nyo sa net bag, ipadrip mo yung sweat, yung cacao juice or cacao drippings. The following day, turn upside down. Kasi dry na yung sa itaas eh. The following day, upside down. So yung drippings naman, nabasa yung sa ilalim, bababa naman yung, mabasa naman yung nasa ilalim. The following day, upside down ulit. Babalik naman yung juice niya. Kasi yung juice kasi is the one giving the aroma of your beans. Anong nandyan sa drippings? Yung maasim na matamis. Yung matamis is the sugar, and then yung maasim, that one that will give the fermentation is the acetic acid or citric acid. The 4th day, turn around again, and then on the 5th day, bilad mo na. At least naman, meron namang aroma yung tsokolate mo. Kasi you're starting pa eh. So, ganun ang gagawin natin, no? Do not just after harvesting, diretso mo dry. Well, you can still taste the feeling of a chocolate, but not as good of its aroma. For those who really have a bigger farm that would cater 500 kilos, to number of tons and even so many tons, you have a chance that you can have the best dried fermented beans. After drying, when making into tablea or chocolates, you have the best aroma because you can have the full capacity of your 500 kilos fermentary box. So, pag full yan, pantay yan, ang maximum heat niyan. Kaya nga, kung talagang malaki ang fermentary box mo, there are times if you can visit some of the fermentary malalaking mga nag-outsource ng mga beans, you will see some of them are mixing the beans. Ginagano nila ang beans. So, as you can see in your naked eye, you will be thinking, ay, bakit minimix yung beans? No, they are not doing the mixing. They are just turning upside down ang sa itaas linagay sa ilalim. Bakit? Mainit na masyado ang beans na nasa gitna. So that is the essence. Bakit? Pagtingin nila, malapit ng aabot na ng 60 ito. So i-mix yun nila para lalamig ulit siya. Mami-maintain yung 45 to 55 degrees. Pag maganda yung fermentation process, yun. Kahit ano pang sasabihin, kahit ano pang mga twist dyan, you will maintain that you have a very good aroma and a very good taste. Isa din ang ano ko sa inyo, ibibigay na, in a way, this is not really scientifically based, but from my experience, once your fermentation is done, paglabas ng beans mo na wet pa siya from fermentary box, always see to it that it must be heat by sunlight. Or kung wala kang sunlight, it must be heat by artificial heat. Bakit? Kung hindi siya, halimbawa, pag harvest mo, umuulan, walang init ng araw. So you have to be prepared, to be prepared with a mechanical dryer. Ang dito sa akin is electrical dryer. Noon, meron akong mechanical dryer. Because if that would not be introduced with heat, walang init na ma-introduce sa beans na yan after the fermentation process, mag-continue yung fermentation niya. So, doon ka na makakita ng iba't ibang taste. Depende yan sa volume ng beans na nandyan. Second to remember is, again from my personal experience, after 6 days of fermentation, mag-bean cut tayo. Wala man tayong bean cutter, manual lang. 10 samples doon sa fermentary box mo, sa ilalim, ganyan, sa itaas, kanto-kanto. Biakin mo yan sa gitna. Once you one half na siya, hati na siya into half, tingnan mo yung percentage of violet. Pag nakita mo yung 25% violet left, that is now good for harvest. Bakit? Kasi even though it is already there within the sunlight, matagal pa yan sa ma-dry, mga 5 days to 6 days, depende sa sunlight. There is still a continuous fermentation. So, kailangan may allowance ka na violet within the bean. Pero kailangan din sa 10, mga 8 na 25%. Kahit na yung dalawa, fully brown na siya, okay lang yan. Not all of it na parang naluluto na talaga. Kasi yung full fermentation picture is full brown na talaga siya. Full brown. No? So yun ang mga fermentation. Fermentation does not really have so many things to parang marami kang mga babantayan. No, it's not. Maintain mo lang yung temperature. Sa harvest, wag mong i-mix yung mayroong diferensya at saka mayroong itim-itim against the very nice seeds. Kasi ma-spoil talaga siya. You can just imagine, isang box ng kamatis, mayroong isang bulok. Lahat ng kamatis marireject. Bulok na yan lahat. Isang tray ng itlog, na basag yung isa, ayaw na yan tatanggapin yung iba. So those are the principles in that kind of processes. Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. Again, I am very thankful for this opportunity, very rare opportunity that I have given the chance to share my more than 3 decades in cacao farming. Even though I have no formal education, but because of of different government agencies making some seminars, some technology transfer for us. These have developed me, particularly the DOST TAPI, the FELMEC, DA FELMEC, DSB, the High Value Crop Division of the Department of Agriculture, Region 11, kay Director Red Monteagudo, at yung dati wherein we're very close, si Sir Bong, Engineer Bong, and kay Ma'am Lavinia is very eager to push the cacao industry, and all of the players, of all of the small players, the farmers, the processors, and everybody are present. Maraming salamat po. God bless us all. Thank you.